So we're going to give you a general overview of some of the key changes if you are getting ready to begin the IBDP this year or next year or in the future. So like we mentioned, internal assessments, you can kind of see that less is more. In the past, we had two completely different assessments called the IOC and the IOP. Those were considered fairly challenging for students. And so what they've done now is actually combined that into one bigger, more important assessment, which is really nice. So again, teachers are going to be learning how they actually deliver this. It hasn't ever happened yet once. Nobody has ever done this yet. Okay, so this is brand new. So as far as how teachers do this, how they do it in their classroom, and how students respond to this, that remains to be seen. Okay, how well this will work. The point is, this is what's going to change. The good part is students get to choose what they're reading a lot more now. They're going to have a choice of different texts. In the past, everything was just prescribed. You have no choice of what you're going to talk about. You have no choice about what you're going to read. So in general, there's going to be a lot more choice for students. Thinking about it, I've had a lot of students that I can think of. What do you read if a teacher doesn't tell you what to read? Find some things that you enjoy reading. Study different genres: fiction, nonfiction, poetry, these sorts of things. You are going to have more choices in your text, but your teacher's going to have more choices to sort of help you out and learn as well. So try to read a wide variety of different genres there. Here are some of the external assignments. And I think I, for some reason, deleted that title. Great. Before and after here. One thing that's changing a little bit is there's no more written assignment for the literature students. This is something that really kind of hurt people in the past. It took a lot of time. You can see it's pretty big, 1,500 words and a reflection. In the past, there was a paper 1, a paper 2, versus now there's still paper 1, paper 2, but only the HL students are going to do something called the HL essay. Okay. Now, as far as what the HL essay is going to be, it still remains to be seen. It's going to be no more than 1,500 words, but nobody in standard level has to do this thing anymore. Whereas before, everybody had to do a big, big essay. So this is going to be one of those things that you think about when you decide, do I go for a standard level language or do I go for a higher level language? There's going to be more assessments here. There are very specific changes if you guys are familiar with paper 1 or paper 2. I can answer questions a little bit more about that later. In a nutshell, basically you're going to get something that you've never seen before in your entire life, and you have to analyze it, which is fun. And then with paper 2, you're going to get something that you've been reading and preparing for months, and then you have to analyze it. So that's the basic breakdown there with those. The one final thing that is kind of coming ahead is what they're calling the learner portfolio. You may have heard it called the learner journal. Basically, this is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bunch of stationery, a bunch of sticky notes, a bunch of colored pens and pencils and these sorts of things. And it is going to be a journal, a diary kept by every student to actually, reflect and explore and look at feedback from all of the different things that they've gone to. This has already begun. Actually, it's begun a couple of weeks ago for some of my students, where they actually brought in their portfolio for me to look at, and teachers are allowing them, it's kind of fun. Well, teachers are allowing them to draw pictures and doodle and these sorts of things, but also actually take serious notes and comment on themselves, comment on their learning experience, write down any questions that they had. And this is just meant to be sort of a long-term support system for students as they continue. There's no actual score for this, but it will be required. So the way that most teachers are going to use this is to assist in predicted scores. Okay, so if somebody's not necessarily doing this, if they have a bad attitude about trying to complete these activities in class, this might affect how the teacher predicts your English score. which would then be sent off to with your university applications. So even though there's no actual score for this one, students should try their best and yeah, draw some pictures, have some fun. It's just a diary. As far as I think of the math and science stuff. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a new math. So the math will change from like this year. So the first assessment will be 2021 May. Okay, so the new math will be a little bit complicated. So before we have like mathematics studies, mathematics SLHL, and then we have further mathematics. But as far as I know, actually no one chooses further mathematics because it's so hard. And actually school doesn't require that. School like mathematics HL was already enough for, especially even like empirical college, like engineering, like mathematics HL was enough. And so the IB want to change, want to make the math more like, friendly to the students. So they change this into this two. Okay, so one is application and interpretation. So sometimes we call it AI, or you just remember it as applications. So as the name suggests, so this part is more, focusing on applications. So it's more focusing on learning the math using, the technologies and stuff, apply statistics, and all the tasks are calculated aloud. Okay, so you have the SL and HL high level. The standard level will be just like the old mathematical studies. Okay, and the HL is kind of a relatively new course. And then again, we have another, which is analysis and approaches. So based on the name, it's called analysis. So it's more about like theories. Okay, so we still have SMHL, and this SMHL are more like the old mathematics SMHL. Okay, as far as for difficulty, okay, a lot of people think like the AI is actually much more easier than the AA, but that's not the truth. The truth is that both HL are actually harder than SL. Okay, so the easiest one will be the old math studies, so which is the AISL. Okay, that will be the easiest one. Okay, it's very easy, but I will talk about it later. Be careful if you want to choose it. Okay, and then the two HLs. Of course, all the HLs are actually very hard. A lot of students always ask me, okay, can I consider choose this HL? How much harder this HL is, compared to the SL? I will just tell them, actually all the subjects, no matter math, science, English, humanities, actually all the HLs, they need a lot of extra effort. Okay, so also be careful if you choose the HLs. Okay.
Okay.
So this is some statistics. Okay, about which part you want to choose, which poison you want to choose. Okay. Unfortunately, math is kind of compulsory. So at least you need to choose one from the four things. Okay, so let's see this part, so application interpretation. So as the name suggests, it's application. So these are the important things you will learn under this branch. So most important is like statistics, modeling. It's about graph. So what type of students are more likely to choose this? For instance, if your students want to do, let's say, business, economics, okay, or even some like medical related, feel free to choose this one. It's actually quite helpful. And as far as the analysis part, you see the highlighter will be calculus. You see the data for the analysis, especially HL. There's a very high portion about the calculus, the blue one. Yeah. So if you want to pursue a career or like study in college which is related to calculus, for instance, computer science, math, physics, or like electrical engineering, maybe you should consider to choose this branch, analysis. Okay. As far as school, because this is brand new stuff, we don't even have the examination yet, and we don't know how the students will actually, cope with this kind of new change. So as far as schools, most of the schools, they already say that they accept both. Okay, so that means no matter which one you choose, it won't affect. But some of the schools, they say that they actually don't want the students to choose the AISL. So that means the easiest one. They actually don't want it, especially the top performance school, let's say the US, the Ivy League. Okay, for the Ivy League, they said that, okay, I will actually see how my applicants performed. Okay, but if the applicants are very, very competitive, we want to choose the students who actually under the HLs. So that means both HLs have a chance to apply for the Ivy Leagues. But if you choose the AISL, unfortunately, maybe the school won't accept that. Even though you want to actually learn, psychology, which is not related to math. So be careful if you want to choose like the easiest one. And another thing is that actually, no matter which one you choose, the first 60 hours are the same. So actually, I would suggest your students maybe try, for instance, to choose AIHL first. And if the student really think, okay, I cannot cope with this, and then you can also jump from HL to SL. Remember this just always easier for you to change from HL to SL, then you want to move from SL to HL. Okay, so always challenge yourself. Don't think, okay, this is easy. The math study is easy. Math study, the AISL is only for the students who want to learn something which has nothing to do with math. And also, maybe you don't, aim that high. Like for your college choices, you don't want to, let's say, to go to the Oxbridge or like to go to the Ivy League. Maybe you may think about the AISL. But besides that, all the other three things, I think they're very open to all the choices. Unless the students want to do some math and science related, let's say engineering, computer science something, I would suggest you to choose AAHL. Because actually a lot of schools, even this is not yet been tested, a lot of schools already announced that they only accept AAHL for engineering or math science related. Okay.